Chapter 42. Matthias judged by the sun that it was past mid-afternoon. He had to make steady progress through the woods. Nothing untoward had occurred. He had stopped in the light snack, gained a second wind, and pressed forwards, taking care not to create too much noise lest to disturb any predators. The young mouse had discovered a path of sorts, skirting the dense underbrush and avoiding patches of marshland. Always keeping the tree moss on his left, he continued eastward. Matthias pinned the medal to his habit, telling himself that he might stumble upon Captain Snow's territory at any moment. Lulled by the summer's warm sun, cool shade, and birdsong, he trekked onwards, thinking of nothing in particular and enjoying the sense of freedom amid so much beauty. Something from out of nowhere, a mouse leapt, barring Matthias's path. He halted and sized the strange mouse up. It was an odd-looking wild thing. Matthias was not even too sure it was really a mouse. The creature had spiky fur, which stuck out at odd angles all over. Around his brow was a brightly colored scarf. The stranger was full a head shorter than Matthias. It stood definitely blocking his way, glaring at him with the maddest-looking eyes he had ever encountered. Matthias smiled politely and addressed the odd mouse. "Hello there, beautiful afternoon, isn't it?" "Never mind that nonsense," it replied in a gruff voice. "Who are you, and why are you trespassing on shrew land?" Matthias paused. This is what a shrew looked like. He had never seen one before, but he had been told of their bad tempers. Matthias decided to fight fire with fire. No point in being good-mannered to this little hooligan. He snarled in what he hoped to be an aggressive manner. "No mind who I am. Who do you think you are, you little raghead?" The shrew seemed unconcerned for the moment. Then she stormed back in her low, gruff voice. "I am Galsum, and you still haven't told me what you want on shrew territory." "Galsum," echoed Matthias. "What sort of a name is that? And anyhow, if you don't want creatures coming across your land, you should put signs up. As far as I'm concerned, mossflower has always been free to all, except this part," snapped the shrew. "Don't you know anything? Galsum stands for Guerrilla Union of Shrews and Mossflower." Matthias laughed scornfully. I could care less what it stands for. Make way for a Redwall Abbey warrior. I'm coming through." Immediately, Matthias took a step forward. The Galsum struck her paws between her lips and emitted a sharp whistle. Then, with a swift rustle from the undergrowth, Matthias found himself surrounded by at least 50 shrews. They packed around him, creating an angry hubbub with their deep, rough tones. All of them wore colored headbands, all carried short, rapier-like swords. Galsum had difficulty in calling their orders. "Comrades," she shouted, "tell this mouse what happens to trespassers." The replies came back were varied. "Break his paws, skin him alive, chop off his nose, hang him by his tail, stuff his whiskers down his ears." A stern-looking old shrew barraged Galsum out of his way and whistled sharply. He produced a round black pebble and held it up. "Any comrade who wants to speak must hold the pebble, otherwise, shut up." Complete silence fell. He handed the pebble to Matthias. "Now explain yourself, mouse." There were one or two murmurs of dissent that the stranger was not a shrew could have first say. The old shrew did a dance in rage. "Will you lot shut up? The mouse has the stone." Silence fell once more. Matthias cleared his throat. Guerrilla Union of Shrews and Mossflower, forgive me, as you see. I am a stranger in these parts. I do not intentionally trespass on your land. Had I known that it would take a different route. You have probably noticed by my habit, and I have come from Redwall Abbey. Though I am a warrior, we are healing and helping others. It is usual for all creatures to allow a Redwall mouse to pass in peace. This is an unwritten law." The older shrew, whose name was Log-a-Log, took the pebble from Matthias and addressed the others. "Right, comrades. Now we know a bit more about things. Let's have a show of paws. All in favor of letting the mouse go free." Paws went up. Log-a-Log counted them. Exactly half of those represented. He called for those again and took another count. Half one way, half the other. "Casting vote is mine. Now let me tell you. I know we take care of our own, but the Redwall mice are a legend in Mossflower. They do not harm any creature. In fact, they do a lot of good." Log-a-Log raised his paw. "Therefore, comrades, I vote that this mouse goes free." The following an equal number of cheers and boos, a squabble ensued and a fight broke out. Galsum snatched the stone from Log-a-Log and waved it about. "Listen to me," she roared. "I know that Log-a-Log is a wise elder, but I am president of the Union, comrades. The mouse hasn't told us where he's going." There was a brief silence, and another shrew snatched hold of the stone. "Aye, that's right. Where are you off to, mouse?" The stone was thrust at Matthias. "I'll tell you," he said, "but my name's not Mouse. It's Matthias." Redwall Abbey is in danger from Clooney the Scourge and his horde. There was an immediate shouting and gruff oaths. Matthias knew the drill. It was surprised how the stoneholder could gain quiet among such a noisy, quarrelsome gathering. Matthias continued, "As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, we at Redwall are attacked by Clooney and his horde. Eventually you've heard of his name before. Well, I believe that I have a solution to Clooney. It is in the ancient sword that once belonged to a great mouse named Martin the Warrior. So to find the sword, I have asked Captain Snow and the whereabouts of Asmodeus." The shrews made a frenzied rush into the undergrowth. Matthias was standing alone. After a few minutes, Log-a-Log and the Galsum ventured stealthily out again. Forgetting the stone, Galsum spoke in an awed voice. "You mean to say you actually intend to walk straight up and speak to Snow?" Matthias nodded. Log-a-Log continued when his comrade had left off. "You're going to ask Captain where you can find giant poison teeth, Mouse? Matthias? You are either brave or raving mad." "A bit of both, I suppose," said the young mouse. "Do you know much about Captain Snow and Asmodeus?" Both shrews trembled visibly. Galsum's voice had been risen an octave. "Matthias, you must be crazy. Don't you know what you're walking into? Captain Snow, why, you'd just be a snack to him. As for the other one, Giant Ice Eye, who could even go near him? He eats as many shrews as he wants. No living creature can stop the poison teeth." A heart-rending moan arose from the shrews in the undergrowth. Matthias still had the stone. He held it up and addressed them boldly. "Gorilla shrew comrades, I do not ask you to do my fighting. Merely point me in the direction of Captain Snow. Who knows, if I finally get the sword, I may be able to liberate you." Log-a-Log took the stone. "Matthias of Redwall, you are on our land. We will escort you. The guerrilla Union shrews Mousefly will never lie down in shame of having a stranger fight their battles for them. You may not always see us, but we will be close by. Come now." Matthias moved northeast with the company of shrews, whose numbers seemed to swell as they went along. At nightfall there were upwards of 400 members of the Shrew Union seated around the campfire, breaking bread with the warrior of Redwall. That night Matthias slept inside a long hollow log, with both ends disguised to make it appear solid. Like Basil, the shrews were masters of camouflage. Their very survival depended on it. Half an hour before dawn, the young mouse was roused by a shrew who gave him an acorn cup full of sweet berry juice, a loaf of rough nut bread, and some tasty fresh roots that he could not identify. By dawn's first light, they were on the move again, marching until mid-morning. Matthias saw the edge of Mossflower Wood. The tall trees thinned out, brushing and undergrowth seemed sparse. Before them lay an open field of long, lush grass dotted with buttercup and sorrel. In the distance he could see an abandoned farmhouse that Basil had spoken of. All the shrews had disappeared with the exception of Galsum and Log-a-Log. The latter pointed to the barn adjoining the farmhouse. "You might find Captain Snow in there taking a nap. Now is the best time to approach him, after he has a stomach full from the night hunt." The two gorilla shrews melted back into the woods. Alone now, Matthias crossed the sunny field leading to the barn. Just as Basil taught him, zigzag, crouch, wiggle, and weave. He tiptoed into the barn with no sign of an owl. In the semi-darkness, Matthias could make out various odd, old farming implements rusted into the sieves. On one wall there was a huge sack of musty, dry straw bales. He decided to climb up on the bales in the hope of getting near Captain Snow, who was probably sleeping perched in the rafters. Matthias scaled the packed straw. He stood on the top looking out. Nothing. He ventured forwards and suddenly slipped and fell down into a hidden gap between the bales. Scrambling and clutching, he plunged down into the floor. Matthias' feet never touched the earth. He landed clean in the gaping mouth of a huge marmalade cat.